Coming up on Citrus TV News Live at 6, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders held a debate last night. We'll give you the highlights.
A crane collapses in New York City, killing one and injuring more.
Plus, what historic meeting will Pope Francis be holding next week? We'll let you know.
And a shocking new report on the mastermind of the terrorist attacks in Paris. Those stories and more on Citrus TV News.
From the Citrus TV studios, this is Citrus TV News Live at 6, your campus news leader.
Good evening and welcome to Citrus TV News Live at 6. I'm Michael Tricarico.
And I'm Brooke Glatz, filling in for Monica Hammer. We will start tonight with a new development in the case involving David Renz. That's our top story tonight. A judge has decided not to throw out a claim indicting the Federal Probation Office in the $190 million case against David Renz.
The civil suit places some blame on the federal government for not properly responding to multiple alerts against Renz, who tampered with and broke out of his ankle bracelet multiple times while on house arrest. It was on one occasion when the bracelet was off that he killed a woman and raped her young daughter.
Renz is currently serving life in prison for those crimes.
Members of the SU community are invited to participate in talks with the Chancellor's Work Group on Diversity and Inclusion on February 10th. The goal of the session is to create a safe, respectful, and supportive community for all university members and to address the incidents of discrimination on campus. Students, faculty, and staff are asked to share their views at the session, which will be held from 3:45 to 5:45 and 7 to 9 p.m. in Goldstein Auditorium. And Syracuse schools collected enough water to give more than 100 people in Flint, Michigan 10-minute showers. Syracuse schools have teamed up with City Hall, the Southwest Community Center, the People's AME Zion Church, and others to collect the water for Flint. The city has been in a state of emergency for lead-contaminated water. Syracuse school spokesman Mike Hennessy said the schools collected more than 2,000 bottles of water. One shipment is already en route, and the other leaves today.
And a BMX biker and CNY native, Dave Mira, was found dead in North Carolina yesterday at the age of 41. Authorities said he committed suicide, and the Chattanooga native was reportedly visiting friends in Greenville where the incident occurred. He leaves behind a wife and 2 children, and his family released a statement earlier today thanking the public for their support and asking for privacy during this difficult time.
A New York City man has been indicted on multiple sexual assault felony charges at Cornell University. Cornell police say 21-year-old Wolfgang Ballinger was involved in a rape at the Psi Upsilon fraternity last weekend. The fraternity has stopped all operations since the incident. Ballinger is expected in court next week. And when we come back, an update on the campaigning in New Hampshire.
And we'll find out what closed down an entire New York City block earlier today. Don't go away.
Here last February, you saw this picture pretty much every day. It was the coldest February on record. 2 inches of snow fell this time last year. It's 22 degrees and there were 2 feet of snow on the ground. Now it's unseasonably warm temperatures. Stay tuned for my 7-day forecast to see if that'll stay or that'll go. Stay with us.
Surprise!
Preventing wildfires. That's all Smokey wants for his 70th birthday.
Thank you, dear. Well, you're very supple, just like I was at your age. Back then, I was a sex expert. Used to call me the buttered biscuit. I know about birth control, too. So you can ask me anything, baby.
Bedsider.org has birth control information and a lot more. And it's...
Have you had sex in this car yet?
Huntington!
Every proper bear knows that the right fit means everything. Especially when it comes to car seats.
Oh, really? I just did what any bear would do.
So know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size.
I like it.
To learn more, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
Oh, hello there. Oh,
Where's that bear?
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does. And like that, you're a job creator.
Just a few days away from the New Hampshire primary, Democratic hopefuls Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders took the stage last night at the University of New Hampshire.
Clinton and Sanders held nothing back last night as Sanders continued his attacks on Hillary for accepting Wall Street donations and for voting for the war in Iraq. Hillary hit back at Sanders, defending herself as a progressive and validating the donations she has received.
Sanders holds a 2-to-1 lead over Clinton in New Hampshire polls. Primary voting takes place on Tuesday.
And over on the GOP side, Donald Trump leads the polls in New Hampshire, but the race is on for second.
Marco Rubio is in second place at the moment with 18%, followed close behind by Ted Cruz and John Kasich.
The Republican hopefuls will debate tomorrow night on ABC. One name left off the debate list is Carly Fiorina. And a crane that has collapsed in New York City has left at least one dead and 3 more injured.
The collapse happened in the Tribeca area of downtown New York, and more than 100 firefighters and dozens of EMS workers were on the scene.
A spokesman for Con Edison says no power or gas services were impacted by the collapse.
New York Mayor Bill de Blasio spoke earlier today on the incident.
Very sad incident. We've lost a life. But if you go out there on the street, as I did, and see what happened here, thank God it was not worse. And in fact, a crew was directing people away from Worth Street as the crane was being lowered.
And also in New York City, 2 police officers were shot in the Bronx last night. Hospital officials say they are both in good condition.
And at least 3 suspects are in police custody for the shooting. The officers were on patrol in a housing complex in the South Bronx when the incident occurred. If you're a fan of the podcast series Serial, then this name will sound familiar. A non-citus hearing for a new trial entered its 3rd day tomorrow.
Syed, whose case was the subject of Season 1 of the podcast, was convicted of killing his ex-girlfriend back in 2000. But a classmate is now giving Syed an alibi, testifying that she was with him on the day of the murder when the crime was committed.
The court is also reviewing whether cell phone tower data in the case was reliable enough to be used in court. And former pharmacy exec Martin Shkreli isn't speaking out as loudly as he was a few weeks ago. He has pled the 5th at congressional hearing regarding his case.
Shkreli is facing criminal charges for raising the price of a life-saving drug from about $13 to more than $700. Since his arrest, Shkreli has been very outspoken, mocking the government and defending the 5,000% price hike. And breaking in the last couple hours, a 6.4 magnitude earthquake has hit Taiwan. Casualties are not yet known, but multiple buildings have collapsed.
The quake struck in the early hours of Saturday morning in Taiwan's time zone. A Taiwanese newspaper has reported at least 4 aftershocks. And Pope Francis will be holding a historic meeting next Friday. He'll be meeting with the head of Russian Orthodox Church, Patriarch Kirill, in Cuba next week.
This is the first time the leaders of the Roman Catholic and Russian Orthodox churches have met. The Vatican hopes it will further help relations between the different Christian sects. And a new development in last year's terrorist attack in Paris. The ringleader of the attack, Abdeladim Abayoud apparently got into France without papers.
In a radio interview uncovered from just days before the ISIS attack, the ringleader bragged that he had gotten through the border without any identification.
The attacks last November left 130 people dead in the French capital. And the UN has ruled in favor of WikiLeaks whistleblower Julian Assange. The UN says the Swedish and British governments have, quote, arbitrarily detained Assange. He has been living in the Ecuadorian embassy in London for 4 years.
Assange is wanted on rape allegations in Sweden. He fears that if he leaves the embassy, he'll be arrested and extradited. He also faces even harsher charges in the U.S. for revealing government information on his WikiLeaks site. Sunny out there today on National Weather Person's Day, but will those clear skies stick around?
We're joined now by our own weather person, Nicole Dementri, to let us know what to expect.
Hey, Brooke and Mike. I'm here just showing you the current temperatures, hopefully a really good forecast for this week. So we're looking at very average temperatures, nothing too outrageous right now. But going into our current conditions, it's 32. Like I said, right on average. It's feeling more like 22 degrees though, with winds going northwest at 14 miles per hour. It's partly cloudy, but it's been overall a pretty nice day. Now moving into tonight, it will be 27 degrees. It'll drop down a little bit, but again, it's middle of February, not too bad, not too shabby at all. There is a 20% chance of snow, so you will see a couple snow showers here and there, but nothing that'll be of much concern. Now moving into the radar, as I said, it's just gonna be completely clear. There's nothing really up there at all. We're gonna be clear all the way through this weekend. Saturday, 41 degrees. Sunday, 44 degrees. It's February, people. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. Sunday, completely sunny, 0% chance of precipitation at all. It's going to be a beautiful weekend to go outside, run, and jog. And moving into the 5-day forecast for your next week, Monday is going to be the only day that you see no snow. Monday is going to be 41 degrees with a low of 29. We're going to move to Tuesday, 38 degrees with a low of 29 once again. Wednesday, 60% chance of snow. That's your biggest day of snow at 32 degrees. 17 degrees at night. Thursday, Friday, again, more chances of snow, and it's going to accumulate.
All right, Nicole, you mentioned that the snow is going to accumulate.
Yeah.
It's Syracuse. How much are we going to get next week?
Okay, well, it's completely green grass outside right now, which is freaking me out. But, you know, next week, by the end of the week, we should see 4 to 9 inches of snow back on the ground.
Wow.
So typical Syracuse is back.
All right, Nicole, so tell me now, if it's going to snow a lot next week, what should we wear to the basketball game on Thursday?
To the FSU game, it's going to be at 7 p.m. at night. Most of the snow showers are supposed to be in the morning, so I would probably wear boots and a jacket. Just be careful of black ice because it will be below freezing at night, but nothing too out of the ordinary for Syracuse.
So is this week the last of the green grass? It's going to snow next week. Is there going to be any sun in the future?
I mean, we hope that by May it stops snowing, but right now it's just going to look like it's just going to keep on snowing all the way through. So we're back to Syracuse winter.
Oh, well. It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, exactly, right?
All right, thanks, Nicole.
Thank you.
And after the break, the first Friday of the month means one thing, the Jobs Report. We'll have the latest.
And what comedian is back on tour? We'll be right back.
Hey, my name's Katie and I'm in the 9th grade. I'm an A average student and I'm an athlete working towards a scholarship. And everybody tells me how much potential I have. But I just wish someone would tell me where my next meal is coming from. Katie, how'd I do?
Do you have to be so serious?
Well, I mean, I did like a crazy dance in a movie if you want me to like, you know, do a little, no.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
In health news today, the Zika virus is forcing big airplanes to make major changes. Many airlines are now allowing certain members of their flight crews to change their shifts to avoid Zika-infested countries. Those who will be allowed to change their schedules include crew members who are pregnant or are planning on becoming pregnant. No word yet on whether or not the Zika virus is affecting travel sales. And nearly 13 million Americans signed up for the Affordable Care Act in 2016, meeting the projected numbers. Experts say that high enrollment might make it harder for the 2016 Republican presidential candidates to follow through with their promises to repeal Obamacare. Insurance enrollment for this year closed at the end of last month.
A promising sign today. President Obama has announced that the unemployment rate has dropped to 4.9%, the lowest since the recession in 2008. Over the past year, the average wage has risen 2.5%. President Obama spoke further on this today.
Wages have grown at their fastest rate since the crisis. And the policies that I'll push this year are designed to give workers even more leverage to earn raises and promotions.
Chipotle is facing yet another challenge. This time, it's a subpoena from the U.S. government. This comes just days after the Centers for Disease Control declared the burrito chain E. coli free. The subpoena has widened the criminal investigation against the chain and is asking for information dating back to 2013.
Comedian Tracy Morgan is kicking off his first comedy tour since the deadly limo crash that injured him and killed his friend back in 2014. The Picking Up the Pieces tour starts tonight in Indiana and will go until May. The SNL and 30 Rock star suffered severe brain trauma in the crash and was in a coma for 2 weeks. The driver of the Walmart truck that hit Morgan's limo now faces criminal charges. And it's a sad day for the cartoon-loving world. Joe Alasky, who voiced Looney Tune favorites like Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, passed away earlier this week of cancer. The Troy, New York native took over for the legendary Mel LeBlanc after his death in 1989. Alasky was 63 years old.
Coming up in sports, some very big news coming out today in college basketball. We'll have more on how one of the top teams in the ACC won't be playing in March. Plus, we take a look at Syracuse women's basketball team's dominating win over Clemson. Sports is next.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things sun. Wake the sun. Wake the sun. Wake the sun.
We begin today with breaking news out of the state of Kentucky. The University of Louisville announced a self-imposed ban on postseason play in the midst of an NCAA investigation into an alleged recruiting scandal. The Cardinals are currently second in the ACC with a 7-2 conference record and are ranked 19th in the country. Following in the footsteps of Syracuse, Louisville is trying to get out in front of the NCAA investigation in hopes of a lesser penalty when the Committee on Infraction makes its decision. Ironically, the announcement comes almost a year to the date when Syracuse made the very same decision. Now moving on to Syracuse women's basketball. The 23rd ranked Syracuse women's basketball team was in action last night against a struggling Clemson team who had not laid a claim to a victory in ACC play. Let's take you out to the Carrier Dome for that one. Syracuse getting all warmed up, take on the Tigers, and here, Brianna Butler got the scoring off, started early. Nice three there. Made it 3-0. Abby Grant loses her defender. Pulls up at the buzzer at the end of the first quarter. That made it 23-15. We'll take another look at this one. Creating her own shot. Megan Spacel, shake and bake, loses her defender. Nails one at the buzzer. 23-15 lead for Syracuse. Clemson, though, trying to keep it close. Here, Danielle Edwards comes up with the steal, and she's going to take it coast to coast. A nice move around Brianna Butler. Beautiful finish. That would make it 28-18. But Butler continues the hot shooting, had 5 3-pointers. Syracuse had 14 in the game. That made it 46-33. Clemson trying to respond with a 3 of their own. Perry Nelly, leading scorer, hits that one, but here's a nail in the coffin. Alexis Peterson makes it 68-47. Syracuse wins 83-62. Ariel Epstein had more.
The Syracuse women's basketball team came back to the Dome after a big win against Miami in Miami. They ended up beating the Clemson Tigers tonight 83-62. The big story in this game was the turnovers. 33 forced turnovers for the Orange, and they even scored 31 points of their own in transition.
They got 28 more shots than we did. But it was our fault because we turned the ball over 33 times and we gave up 23 offensive rebounds. So there's your additional shots right there.
I thought that our pressure was pretty good. We forced 33 turnovers, got 18 steals, so we got some live ball turnovers and made some shots in transition. That was the key.
We have a lot of three-point threats, so if you get the offensive rebound or when you turn them over, we can get easy transition points and we can get transition threes and easy layup. If we can get those 1 to 5 passes in transition from turnovers in the back court or the front court, that's easy buckets for us.
Syracuse is now 7-3 in the ACC, and ACC play will continue Sunday against Georgia Tech at 2 o'clock here in the Carrier Dome. Reporting from the Dome, Ariel Epstein, CitrusTV.
Thanks, Ariel. Now on to the NBA. The Knicks return home tonight looking to snap a 3-game losing streak against the Grizzlies. Might be a little difficult to do. Grizz winners of 4 straight and are in the midst of a historic scoring run. Shot a season-high 60.6 from the field in their recent win over the Pelicans. And now to the other team in New York. The Nets host the Kings tonight at the Barclays Center in the hopes of snapping their own 5-game losing streak. The Kings, though, haven't been much better, struggling through a 1-5 stretch as they embark on an East Coast road trip. And finally, we finish up with the Crunch. They welcome the Americans to the War Memorial tonight. Syracuse looks to get back on track after losing 2 in a row to Hershey. This marks the Amerks' first trip to Syracuse this season, and each of the 5 matchups between the 2 teams this season have been decided by 1 goal.
All right, Michael, Louisville postseason ban. What does this mean for Syracuse?
Well, right now projected as one of the last 4 in the NCAA tournament. So now you take out Louisville, who's the 19th of the country, second in the ACC, really had a spot locked up in the NCAA tournament. You probably move Syracuse up out of that last 4 in, so maybe they can afford to lose another game or 2 that they shouldn't, but overall this is good news for Syracuse. It opens up a spot for them.
Plus, Syracuse has to go to Louisville in the regular season. You got to wonder what the motivation of the Cardinals will be.
Not a lot to play for. Not a lot to play for.
All right, Michael. So we all know the Super Bowl is coming up on Sunday. What do you think we can expect to see out of that?
I think we could see a repeat of the Seattle-Denver matchup. Carolina's defense is very, very good. Denver has a great defense too, but Carolina's defense has been dominating the whole playoffs, and you saw what Seattle did to Peyton Manning 2 years ago. So I really hope it's not like that, but I could see another 47-8 blowout.
And one of the fun parts about the Super Bowl, of course, prop bets. What color Gatorade's going to put on, length of the national anthem. What one are you most looking forward to?
You know, I don't think there's a specific one, but just in general, I just love the prop bets. I don't know if you're going to put any money on them.
I won't put any money, but I tell you what,
we have
Brooke and I do have a little friendly wager going. I don't know what's being wagered yet, but we do have
yet to be determined.
friendly competition there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, thank you. And when we come back, what surprise guest will be on the SNL stage?
And we'll take one last look at your weather upcoming.
Stay with us.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Wake up weather for tomorrow. What am I wearing when I wake up?
You know, if you're a really early morning person like I am at 8 a.m., it's going to be a little over 30 degrees. If you're more of a later morning person, going towards 11, 12, it's going to be 40 degrees.
I'm not much of a morning person, apparently.
Okay.
I'm not much of a
You're in the clear.
6 o'clock person either.
So Nicole, today I woke up and it was a lot colder than yesterday. Had to break out the big coat.
Yeah.
Can we expect the temperatures to keep dropping tomorrow?
No, you can definitely shed that big coat and bring back your spring coat, your fall coat. It's going to be 40 tomorrow, 44 on Sunday. So it's going to be excellent outside. Get to go outside and do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, well, and that before the big snow hits. So what are you planning to do this weekend with that nice weather?
You know, I'm actually planning to exercise outside
Look at
because, you know, New Year's resolution starting in February, but I'm going to do it outside.
All right.
It's nicer outside than our new gym.
All right, great
Thank
talking to
you.
you, Nicole.
Yeah.
Well, viewers on Saturday Night Live tomorrow might be seeing double.
Former SNL cast member Larry David is set to host, but he won't be the only one stopping by.
Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders will be joining the cast of SNL this week in the lead up to the New Hampshire primary.
Larry David has appeared this season already, portraying the Vermont senator in SNL spoofs of the election season.
One can only imagine what the writers will come up with this week's show. And that's all the show we have for tonight. For more content, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter and like us on Facebook. I'm Michael Tricarico.
And I'm Brooke Glatz. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend, Syracuse.